This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's our life. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, and we are live talking our birds. We are live on two channels, though, just to let you know, on the Philly Talk podcast and BIRDGANG 31's channel. First time working with Jimmy Smith. Hopefully we can collab in the future and we can get it live on three channels. We'll see what we can do, see what we can come up with. But how you guys doing today?
Great. Teach me your ways, and I will happily get it onto my YouTube. That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that. I'd never even post live from YouTube. I'm always StreamYard, and so you're going to have to show me that. But I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Philly Mike, man, what a pleasure it is to be here. First time, but not the last time we're going to be working together, man. So let's get it in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I am so happy, man. You know, another opportunity to work with some great content creators and talk some Philadelphia football, man. It's awesome. Let's get it, guys. Let's get it.
Yeah, my guy's representing from the bird nest, I should say. He got the nice green light. He got the bird.
All right, we got the green lights in the nest. Hold on, let me change the color on this one. Yeah, we got all kind of green lights in here, man.
There we go. There we go. But listen, so, you know, the title is What to Expect from the Eagles. We're going to talk a lot about some of the stuff that we know we all been talking about on our own. We'll get the chat's input and everybody's on the channel. But it's interesting, right? So OTAs are done, and we got this long period of, like, you know, kind of silence. Maybe the Eagles will make a move or two. You see, you know, Devin Allen, one of the newest signings this offseason for wide receiver. You know, not newest because AJ Brown was the newest, but, you know, he wins the 110 hurdle meter, whatever it's called. But just give me your take, Jimmy, on what you expect in training camp when the pads get on and people start fighting for positionings and things of that sort.
I expect exactly what you just said there, a lot of fight. And that's all I could ask for last year. Last year I said, you know, a lot of bumpy roads are going to be ahead. You know, we got to wait for this year with the cap, the picks, you know, but let's see how they grow. So we actually saw them grow a lot, the defense, the offense, all those things. So I think they were building something special, laying the foundation. Well, this year, holy hell, Howie Roseman goes out and just gives everybody the stunner in the draft, free agency. I mean, just nails it, dude. So you add the pieces we really needed. So I think for me, what I expect is some hungry dogs back in the building because, look, this team, we tasted greatness. And sure, some of these players weren't here, but the city knows. We know. The fans, we want that trophy back. And anybody who came here this year, they knew what to expect from the fans. They know we're going to hold you accountable. That's right, baby. So we want our damn trophy back. And I think these guys, with the leader, Jalen Hurts at the helm, I think he's really just – he's building it's spreading that attitude, man. And I love it. I think at every position you have some great depth finally. Sure, safety is a big question mark, but that front seven and everything else makes it much easier. So a lot of competition, a lot of excitement for me. So I am more than ready for all the offseason activity, preseason, because you said it, Devin Allen. You got guys like Britton Covey. I'm excited to see all of those back end battles, all of it, man. So very, very excited.
Yeah, man. One thing to say is we got a team. You know, it's not just one deep. We got a team. And that's why I've been preaching this whole offseason since things didn't happen. Like, this is a year to everybody to get excited. This is a year to support your team. This year will be a year to back your quarterback. Last year was Jalen's proven year, you know? And everybody said he deserves another shot. He did good. We all seen the highlights. We've seen everything that he did good. We also seen the bad. But for the offseason and Howie Roseman, these guys to go pick up the players that we've added to our roster, how can you not think anything but big things, you know? You look at the 17 year. You know, we picked up some veterans that year. The difference from that year and this year is that we went and got young guys to fill these voids. We didn't go look for the veteran pool. You know, yeah, you got the Pascal, whatever. He's not even that old. But we went draft. We got guys like Hassan Reddick. We got guys like, what's his name, Kaiser White. You know, these are all young guys that haven't even hit their prime yet. You know,
that's already contributing.
He's not even in his prime yet. You know, like we filled the whole room up with talented young talent that I don't know, man. I'm telling you, like, it's going to be a very special year for Philadelphia Eagles this year.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think, you have, 3 different tiers to this roster. You got the youth that we expect big things. You got the guys who only been in the league a little bit that already proved something that we think can take their game to the next level. And you got the veterans in here who, although they might be a little bit older than 30, right? But they're all, to me so far, on a good side of 30. Kelsey is coming off a Pro Bowl year. Slay is coming off a Pro Bowl year. And Fletch, although he gets criticized for not being the tackle that gets sacks, I think people misjudge the importance of him in stopping the run, right? We get Jordan Davis to be the run stopper. That's what the tape says. I believe there's much more to Jordan Davis's game, and we're going to talk about all that. But I agree. I think this the level of difference on this team is just important because Hassan Reddick, has he hit his prime yet? I think he was trending to his prime. I think we got him in what we could say is going to be his best year. AJ Brown, 25, 26, 27, 28 is his prime. So I think you got 3 different levels of guys you should still be excited for. I think we took care of the short term and the long term in the last 2 seasons and how we knew he was, under the gun. And I think when he got this 3-year extension, if he was doing the job that we all were giving applause for, he probably would have got like a 5 to 6 year extension because the relationship is great there. So him only getting the 3 was like, hold up, and my time in Philly really might be ending. And I think he just capitalized every move, as Jimmy said, and I think we're going to see big things. So Jimmy spoke about the battles, and camp is coming up July 26th. I know that still seems so far away. Give me just a couple battles that you are ready to see, and you actually don't know what the answer is going to be because there's so much depth at that position in your mind.
Okay, now before I hit that, you hit on something I really just want to touch on, and I think this is one where there's just no battle to even be had. You said Jordan Davis, for the love of God. Fletcher Cox was someone you had mentioned, not getting those sacks, not doing big things last year. Last year, one of the things I emphasized was, it was weird that Jonathan Gannon was catching a lot of slack, and rightfully so at times, because you're running a certain scheme and you don't have the right personnel. So why the hell are you running that scheme? Well, that was the question I asked over and over again. But he was really trying to see if things worked. The problem is, if you're running odd fronts like he was, you need a nose tackle. So I emphasized all offseason, please, for the love of God, draft Jordan Davis. Please, for the love of God, draft Jordan Davis. We draft Jordan Davis, and I cannot emphasize enough what that means. A lot of people, he's going to start over Cox. Cox is starting over him. I don't give a shit. They're going to be right next to each other. It's going to be Davis in the middle. You're going to have Hargrave. You're going to have Cox. Milton Williams can rotate in. That's your 3 out of the 3-4 that we're predominantly going to be running. That is going to be our base defense. You are going to have those 3. And then outside of it, you picked up a Sam linebacker that you mentioned, Hassan Reddick. So I think for me, that's the position I want to stop at. You talked about a battle. Behind Hassan Reddick, what a key addition that was. Such an upgrade over Jannard Avery at that Sam linebacker position. He really plays that joker role where he can edge rush, drop into coverage, do so much Jonathan Gannon is going to have a great time with. So really love that pick. But behind him, last year was just Patrick Johnson, who really came in as a rookie and did well. But this year, he's got himself some competition. Kyron Johnson went ahead and drafted this kid who runs a 4-4, played defensive end the last couple of years, but before that, he played middle linebacker. So this guy also edge rusher that can drop into coverage. So I like that right there. I'm excited about the Johnson battle right there at the edge rusher, but beyond that, man, you had said it. You've got tiers here. So guys like Jimmy Moreland being added. I love the fact that it's like, oh my God, we have Moreland and Josiah Scott battling with Josh Joby, Mario Goodrich, all these young guys. So you talk about the tiers. You added competition at each level. Who wants to stick around? You want to be a teacher? You want to be a young guy stepping into a starting role? What is it? So I think that's beautiful. On offense, you mentioned Zach Pascal. Obviously the top 3, Quez Watkins is going to feast with AJ and Devontae there getting most of, the attention with Dallas in the middle. But you got guys like Zach Pascal, Greg Ward coming in here trying to provide that safety blanket with the sure hands for Jalen Hurts. I think that's going to be an intriguing battle. Tight end, Arcega-Whiteside, Calcaterra. Man, Mike, my man, BG, I'll be real with you guys. I could go forever because I'm so damn excited. There's finally depth on this team, and there are battles, man. I really could. Battles. So I love it, man. And I think one of the guys, Milton Williams, people will be upset that he's not a starter, but I think that's the guy who takes Fletcher Cox's role next year. So I'm excited to see how many snaps he gets. In that 3-4, he can play that defensive end, that 3 technique. And then when you get him in the 5 technique in a 4-3 as a defensive tackle, maybe in the 2, whatever you want to do with him, this dude can move around. And I love his versatility, an Aaron Donald-esque player. I think people are sleeping on him. So he's going to come in and just get his snaps. But, you've got some monsters ahead of you in Hargrave, Cox, and that, Davis. So it's not really a competition with anyone. He just, needs to get a fair share of snaps, and I think he will. I'll stop talking because I could go forever.
Hey, you've been saving it up. It's been long overdue. Go ahead, BG. Give me some of the battles.
Really, I don't really know, man. Like, I would have to say probably the safety battle. Obviously, that's logical. Is Epps going to do, be that guy? Is Kayvon's going to come in? Are they going to move to Kobe Stevens to safety again? Or what are they really doing with that last safety spot? But the fact that we only have that spot, the rest of these battles are like battles where the starters, and it's not really a battle. You talk about the Jordan Davises, the Milton Williams, the Fletcher Cox, the Hargrave. These guys are rotate. They're all starters. Yep. Like on that defensive line, they're all starters, even the second stream starters. So you're not really looking at really battles there. You kind of know the veterans are going to start in those positions just, off namesake and contract sake, obviously. But these young guys coming behind them, the Jordan Davis and Milton Williams, these guys are beasts, man. They are the future of the Philadelphia Eagles, I like to look at that linebacker spot. A lot of people like TJ Edwards, and I really think Nakobe Dean's about to take that spot. He's going to be our middle linebacker. He's the middle linebacker the Philadelphia Eagle fans has been waiting for years, praying for it. Just take a high first rounder. And guess what? We didn't even get him high. We got him in the 3rd round. That's a steal if I ever heard of one. Harry Roseman definitely showed that he's one of the elite GMs, in this league, the way you were able to manipulate the draft the way you did. Get an A.J. Brown, get a Jordan Davis, come back, go get your future center who could even be starting at right guard this year, and then turn around, still get a dominant, first round talent linebacker, Nakobe Dean. So that linebacker spot's really going to be interesting to see how they play it out. And it's just the middle linebacker spot. The 2 outsides, I think we know, Kaiser White and Reddick's definitely going to be playing those roles. And, it's just that middle linebacker spot. It's TJ Edwards. Everybody said he had a good year last year, and I think he had a good year too, but he was like good year for a crappy linebacking core. It's like I don't give too many flowers when you're good when everybody else around you is not playing at a high level. Like you're just good because you're actually making the tackle. It's kind of like the Ward thing, right? Everybody wanted Ward last year. Coming into the season, they're like, I don't care. Devontae Smith's going to start, Quest, but we want to see Ward up there. He deserves it. He deserved it because Ward was the only guy catching the football for our offense, the years before. And then you see when he did play last year, he didn't play that great. I think it's one of those type of situations where it's like, we love TJ Edwards. He would play some good football, but he's not a elite linebacker. We know his ceiling. You know what I'm saying? And I think a guy like Nakobe Dean coming in there, filling that role is definitely going to be, what this team needs, And not saying that he won't be the best 4th linebacker off the bench, Like someone needs a breather, you can throw him in there, let him make his plays, let him do his things. He's gonna get playing time. But other than that, man, I think Dean's definitely that dude.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, can I add something to that? Because I really like what he said there. The thing I had stressed when saying, you need to add a guy in free agency and the draft. You need a veteran to help out this linebacker. We were all praying we'd take in the 1st. So we get Kaiser White. He's the epitome of what we need. He's a middle linebacker, weak side linebacker. He can play a little strong side linebacker. He's a guy that is interchangeable, just like Nakobe Dean. So you've got those 2 guys, but what they are to me, I just made a show about the different schemes that we're going to run. I love what BG said there. Look at all these guys as starters, because when you're in a different scheme, a different guy is going to be starting here. You have guys like Dean and White. Those are your nickel linebackers. When you have 2 linebackers in, they're covering guys. They can stop the run. Then when you drop into a 4-3, you can put Dean as the strong side linebacker, Kaiser as the weak side, and then you've got TJ Edwards in the middle. So there are ways to move these guys around. Love what he was saying about all the linebackers. I think Davian Taylor could even get himself some snaps in there at special teams and some depth at the nickel linebacker. So you've got depth finally at linebacker. That's what was so exciting to me. So I agree. It's a great position. And you had mentioned Cam Jurgens at right guard. For me, what I'm looking forward to is Isaac Seumalo versus Jack Driscoll. Who's going to be healthy? Who wants to take that right guard position? So I'm glad you brought that up, BG. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
No, I agree, and we'll stay there. Like, y'all killed the battles. I think that this offseason is big for a lot of people just trying to really put their stamp on their name for the Philadelphia Eagles. You mentioned Jimmy Moreland, the guy that I think goes under the radar. Listen, if we have to play a dime set, that's the guy I want coming in as that third slot, because you got two guys on the outside, I got two guys on the inside. We know Avonte Maddox is definitely shoring up that nickel spot. He played at a Pro Bowl level last year in my eyes in that spot, not a Pro Bowl corner throughout the whole league, but if you look at that nickel spot, he definitely, that needs to be a position, because people come into the NFL to solely play the slot. Some guys on the outside can't play the slot and vice versa. I think more guys on the outside have a better chance playing inside than the guy who's solely inside, not being able to match the physicality of an outside corner, and just sometimes the speed and the way to backpedal and get out quick enough. With that being said, there's just so much brought to this team in the sense of, like I said, I keep going back to the 3 tiers. We have it all. And our old guys are not old guys in the sense of they're coming off Pro Bowls and they're coming off very productive seasons. And Fletch being a guy who hasn't, but now he has the most help in that room with Milton Williams, be able to switch back and forth. I think, he's underrated as a defensive end too. I think he had 2 sacks in a fraction of what Barnett was able to be played, right? He played a fraction of his snaps and got the same amount of production. I'm just excited for this whole team. But like sticking with Isaac Seumalo real quick, I think he goes under the radar so much for the simple fact that the majority of his career he's played with Hall of Famers. So when a defensive coordinator is going to try to find your weak spot, they're going to attack him, maybe with the switches and stunts of what we saw in the past, blah, 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 blah. But you got JP at one time to his left, Kelsey to his right, then you got Brooks and Lane on the opposite side. With that being said, you're going to look like the weak link, but I do believe he's very versatile. You heard his confidence after OTAs. I think he's going to lock up that right guard. If Jack Driscoll can show me, that's even more. Iron sharpens iron, and I would love Jack Driscoll to beat him, because that's just like, dang, we got so much depth there, which can be used in a pinch if injuries happen, but also we got the genius, the wizard Howie out there, and depending on how the season goes, how he can look around the league and see what people need, we have depth at that offensive line position, and they don't come by, they don't grow on trees. Right. Pat Mahomes lost the Super Bowl because of offensive line deficiency. So they go, you got him. And I think with Dillard, Seumalo, Driscoll, look what we were able to do with Herbig, right? Herbig, we get him. Oh no, Matt Pryor. You get him for a 6th round, you use him up for a little bit, you get him for that same 6th round that you end up flipping into some good packages. I think that this team has just been well constructed in the sense of, listen, I love the Super Bowl, as you talked about, and we want to get back there, right? But that was a lot of win-win now type moves. I think the biggest moves that we could be proud of are Hassan Reddick in his mid-20s, A.J. Brown in his mid-20s, White in his mid-20s. Bradbury still got 3 years of lane. I think an extension for Slay could come throughout the season for 2 more years. I just think that you have the avenue for now and later. And, the question still always circles back to the quarterback, because we're Philly, and it is the most important position in the NFL. Not saying you can't win, you need other stuff to come about it. But I just wanted to say, Isaac Seumalo gets poo-pooed on a little bit too much for my liking. I'm an Isaac guy. Is he an A+? No, but I think he's a solid B. He just was the weakest link out of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Go ahead, BG.
I was just saying, man, do you guys think that, the most pressure is on Jalen? Because I'm on the other side of that fence. I believe that he has nothing more than your average starting quarterback pressure. Like, to me, Jalen's already proved himself. I know you can say he missed throws. This is all first-year stuff. This is all, you go through the history of quarterbacks. These guys all did the same things. These are not uncommonly things for a quarterback. We just kind of put too much stress and pressure on it. Like, oh, you should have been perfect your first year starting. That's not realistic for nobody. The fact that Jalen Hurts was the 6th overall in production from any quarterback ever, right there, Pro Bowl alternate, Toyota Player of the Year, Fantasy Football Player of the Year. It's like you can look at those little stats, don't really matter. But at the end of the day, we seen him make every throw last year. We seen him make throws that weren't caught. We seen him make throws that were called back. We seen all this stuff last year, and there's still doubt, there's still question. The only thing we can really say as fans is like, yeah, he deserved another year. I think Jalen's done, man. And I think the fact that he's going into the second year in the same offense, which is something that nobody has ever seen. Nobody. No one's seen Jalen Hurts, what he can do being in the same system 2 years in a row. That just hasn't happened. I think they said since he was in high school or something. So the fact that that is happening, you heard him in this press conference talk about that. You know, wow, I'm going to the same office. This doesn't happen for me. You know what I'm saying? This is not something normal for me. I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm being in rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like all those things that we seen him last year where he, like, Jalen, throw the ball. Jalen, throw the ball. That's rookie jitters. That's not rookie because he was second year. But you know what I'm saying? First year starting jitters. Like, should I do it? No. Should I do it? No. I feel like this year we're not going to see none of that. It's going to be straight clean. Hike the ball. Let's go. Hike the ball. Let's go. We're moving the ball down the field. And I also still want to say, I know a lot of people be critical on Jalen with his running, man. Jalen's one of the smartest running quarterbacks in the league. Last year, most of his runs, he did not even take a big hit on. Either he juked them out of his socks like we seen in the Saints game, or he ran out of bounds or slid. So I want to see both this year. And I think Jalen has the opportunity to be an MVP candidate.
And next gen stats had Jalen Hurts graded as the most explosive runner of 2021. When you look at yards per carry and just how it happened, how it all transpired in game and whatnot. And we can't forget that magnificent Saints run. That was just, my goodness. I mean, you just can't make it out. That's like
Lamar Play of the Year.
I mean, that was good. But Jimmy, where are you at on Jalen Hurts and with everything? I know. Listen, this whole panel is believers. I listen to all the stuff that y'all do. I can't catch every video. I got a gang downstairs. You know what I mean? And I got to get mine. But I understand the way you guys feel about him. And again, I want to hear how you say before I give my take. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, BG, that is more than refreshing to hear you singing that tune. I remember going on your show last year, and that is something I was trying to sing to the heavens. Please, for the love of God, give this kid an effing chance. Everybody cutting him off before it even could get started. I remember we were on your show really breaking things down. And, I'd mentioned earlier in this show here, about those bumpy roads. That was something I stressed on your show. I think everybody needs to calm down. Everybody's jumping ship. Look, Jalen Hurts, we're going to find out who he is. We had no idea, but let's give him a year at least with a new head coach, new everything. So I knew there'd be bumpy roads, and I knew people would freak out. So, of course, this year it's, Deshaun Watson, we got to get Russell Wilson. And it's like, holy shit, let's just use our cap and our draft picks, build around him, and find out what we've got. So last year he proved every single week. He came in, every time he failed at something, he got better. He learned from it. So now you see that improvement each week. It shows you what kind of leader he is. He does not cower when there is a challenge, unlike the last quarterback we had. So I think that this dude, he's the Terminator to me. He just comes out. I love him. I was so excited last year. So I went out. I found his chef. I found his trainer. I found these guys that brought him close. I wanted to know what this guy was eating, what he was waking up, what he was doing, living, breathing. This dude is the most insane person I've ever heard of in football. Like he's waking up at 5 a.m. And I know there's crazy dudes, but this guy is the epitome. And hearing stories like they're talking about Deshaun Watson, they're like, oh, we'll turn the TV off. No, keep it on. He wants to hear it. I love it. He loves adversity. And I think for me, yes, this is year 2, but how he did what he was supposed to do, and that was give him a true big name wide receiver, a monster across the middle. AJ Brown, he's going to do so many things, open up this offense. You've got someone like Calcaterra as well, who I think fills that Zach Ertz role. You're going to see some 12-13 personnel with Stoll at the H-back too. So I love it. I love what they added to give him weapons. You've got that running back by committee. I love Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. Who's going to make the team beyond that? Does Scott make it? Kennedy Brooks maybe? I think there are so many options that this makes it even more fun. We were the number 1 rushing attack. Sure, only 22nd in passing, but keep running that damn ball. Do not have your quarterback throwing 30-plus times, especially when it's his first effing year. But I think this year, you're going to open up the playbook more. I think Steichen and Sirianni are going to find even more plays because one of the things I heard mentioned, I think maybe BG or Mike had said, the receivers, man. I mean, when Greg Ward is your best receiver, you ain't going to find out much. Now, we had Devontae Smith last year, so I loved it. It was so exciting, getting him in the draft. But you needed somebody else. You need to have more than one weapon, especially in this league today. So getting A.J. Brown, the yin and the yang with Devontae Smith, I mean, you did everything you could, and you have a defense. So I think Jalen Hurts, I think he's going to keep developing. He went out this year. I know there was a lot of talk that he was working with Tom Brady, Tom House. That was not true, but kind of close. But he is working with some people, Yoda-esque, in the quarterback rooms. So he's doing everything he possibly can to become the best quarterback. And I'm not sure what I can say. So I really I've been keeping tabs on everything he's doing. And let me just tell you,
working with Tom House's associates, not Tom House in general, right?
Exactly. It was someone close to Tom, and there's a whole story to it. And, I think obviously we all know that's why we try to bring great content, all of us, to these Eagles fans, because there's so much misinformation out there that people run with. And it's like, look, he's still doing great things. But then when they find out, oh, well, he wasn't, and people are mad, it's like, dude, trust me, he's doing everything and then some. So I know you guys know.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, we know he's doing everything. So for people to be hard on this kid, like, I don't want to be, it's like, why, dude? He is our quarterback. We want him to succeed, because imagine he's only making $1.5 million this year. It's like, imagine if you could keep building on that. And look, I think this kid is the future. I don't know if he's going to pan out, but in my opinion, I think with the way we built this thing, it's perfect for him to run it. People talk about him being a dual threat like it's a bad thing. I think this is a very great thing. And having the best offensive line in football, that's huge. Sure, you lost Brandon Brooks, but you had said about Isaac Seumalo. I'll try to touch that quick. I think Isaac Seumalo is awesome. I'm with you. Very underrated. I thought at left guard, one of the most underrated guys, but you said it. Surrounded by Pro Bowlers, so he got slept on. So exactly. So this dude always slept on, but Landon Dickerson came in, filled in great. Then Jack Driscoll came in and filled in great. So that gives Seumalo some competition. That's what you love to see. Nobody is just giving it. The rest of the guys obviously earned it, but these guys got to prove it, because now he's switching a different position, and were banged up. So who's going to be the healthiest? Who's going to fight for it? And I'm excited that, like you said, Mike, we've got some damn competition there, baby.
Yeah. Look, and again, I'm Team Hurts for sure. I spoke about it all through the season. I saw the growth. If you watch from week 1 in September to December and didn't see no growth, then I guess you were just only looking at the bad. Of course, there were some bumpy roads in there, right? And what stinks and what is the sour taste is that some of the bumpy roads, came to like a Giants team when we should have beat them. And then that playoff game really resonates in people's head, right? You got to think, this is the world of social media. It's the world of monkey see, monkey do. And with all that being said, the last time we seen him, he did lay an egg. And it was all the things that we said that, if he's not going to succeed in the NFL, it's because of this. That all came true at the last game. But I've seen him go from the lack of throwing to the left to throwing to the left, the lack of throwing in the middle, throwing in the middle. I think Dallas Goedert and him, don't quote me, but the passer rating when he was throwing to Dallas Goedert to end the season was over 100. So he started to find out what works and started to put it together. And then again, I think being comfortable in a system is very important. Autonomy at the line is important. And I'm not saying he gets free reign at the line, but now being comfortable in this system more, he's going to be able to read pre-snap. That is partly his things, right? Jalen Hurts. What did Dallas Goedert say? The hitch is not there. Again, the arm strength is there, but that he has a longer delivery than some people. And so when he decides to scramble out sometimes, when he decides to put his body in the wrong spots down low, and a guy's open, for a guy like Jalen Hurts to get back, set, and throw, that's 1.5 seconds. And guess what? You don't got that time in the NFL, so it's timing. It's knowing where to go pre-snap, bang, bang, boom, not bang, boom, boom. And all that stuff comes with time. And so I never wrote him off. I was upset about the loss because I thought, it was a bad game. I didn't really fully believe we could beat the Buccaneers, but I thought, why not? Why not? Underdog story. Plus, I thought we'd be able to give him a run for the money. They were down. But I just see so many traits from Jalen Hurts and so many things he does well that's why he was still productive while being, sometimes suspect with being able to read defenses and going through his progressions and getting out the pocket early, because he has that other thing. We can't credit Lamar Jackson for being a great player and really talking about his playmaking ability and not give Jalen Hurts the credit for it. And to long story short, I believe this is the year that takes a jump. He has to take a jump, a nice jump, only because at the end of the day, forget what the fans say, forget whatever, right? You have capital now to secure what we believe could be a really good team in the future. It'd be beautiful if we can load up on some young stud cornerbacks and this, that, and the third, and maybe, reassess some of the defensive end positions that we can do. And I'm gonna let you go, BG, but I just want to say, at the end of the day, with the capital we have, knowing that a lot of positions, so-called PFF and analytic guys are saying blah, 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 it's secured minus the quarterback. And I do believe there was no reason for us to do anything this offseason for quarterback, or we wouldn't have been able to build the team we have now. But as you guys said, we got a lot of young players, right? So as we are built to win now, but we're also built to win for the future. But there is a thing called NFL purgatory where you got a quarterback that is average, and you're always going to be good, not good enough, not bad enough, and you'll stay in that middle thing, and that's how you end up being. Again, and I love this, right? The Dallas Cowboys don't have a lot of seasons only winning 3 games, but the majority of the time, they stay right there at that 8-win mark. And it's been 25 years since they got the NFC championship, and they have a 10-win season, then a 7, and a 10, and an 8, and a 10, but it's been a lot of mediocrity, and I just want to not get into that. Do I believe in Jalen Hurts? Yes. If I'm a betting man, I believe he takes the step, but I do, this is going to be a season where, because of the capital, because of how this team is built for now and the future, if he is not the guy, you have it's a real assessment. And I also think that for Jonathan Gannon and everybody else, I think that how he's did this right for now. There's no excuses for a lot of guys in the building, right? We got the stuff for you now. Go out there and execute.
Exactly. Yeah, I like what you said about. Oh, I was just gonna say the torque, man. You had mentioned he's got the arm, and that's the biggest misconception. Dude's got arm strength, and he actually had to tone down on that velocity a little bit, added a little more torque. That way, that throwing motion, he's not using so much energy. So he is working on things that I don't think people understand. And you just said it, Mike. It's the footwork. It's the pre-snap reads. It's not his arm strength. So This dude's squatting 625 last year, and he looks like he's twice the size now. So I don't think people understand that part, but you nailed it on the head there. So how could you not be excited? I think he really is the future. So I love that you brought that up.
And the funny thing is, like, everybody goes back to the Giants game. Everybody goes back to the playoff game. Hey, the playoff game, our team as a whole, our coaches, staff, and team as a whole was not ready for that. Period. I think we all can agree on that. So the fact that you try to pigeonhole Jalen Hurts for being the reason why we lost that game, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I think he did have a bad game, but us as a whole, our whole team had a bad game that game. We all laid that egg. No one's getting a free pass for that.
Agreed. But in the National Football League,
the Giants game, he started out really bad, right? He started out really bad. But how many touchdowns? He threw, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns at the end of that game that were either A, called back, or B, dropped.
2. Yes, it was horrible.
He had a high ankle sprain, right?
The Ward in the end zone. He threw that one to Ward in the end zone, too, that Ward dropped. So that's 3 for sure that I know of. He threw one to Ward in the end zone, then he had the 2 to Rager, in the end zone.
Right, so look, all I'm going to say is this, though, real quick, BG. I agree. And like I said, here's the thing, though. I'm a realist, right? And I did this quarterback ranking with LB, and we're still going to finalize it. I don't know if I'll bump him a little bit up or a little bit down, but I had Jalen Hurts as the 17th ranked quarterback in the NFL. I think that is very fair. I think that is fair because guys like Kirk Cousins, all they can't win a big game, they're very productive. And we're seeing if the passing yards can come this season. I'm all about winning, right? I've seen, and as somebody said, keep the Dallas Cowboys at your mouth. I'll do whatever the bleep I want. With that being said, I've seen the Cowboys have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard wide receiver, 1,000-yard running back, blah, 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 and not make the playoffs. So I'm all about wins. And here's the thing, though. When a team wins, the credit goes mainly to the quarterback. And when a team loses, the credit, the reason why it goes to the quarterback. Do I agree with that? No. But that's just the way it is. That's why they're the highest paid on the team, and they touch the ball every time. So yes, a running back can fumble. You can look at the context in the game and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts knows what he got to get better. If you ask him if you think he's up to par as a passer, he'll say no. Should he be Aaron Rodgers? No, he's 23 years old. I think he has to grow as a player in general because he's only 23 years old. But he also got to understand that sometimes you got to win from the pocket. And that no matter how much I hate Dak Prescott, we saw I seen just watching Dak Prescott, love when he loses, but he grew from the pocket. When they went to the NFC Championship, it was a play action, run first, be game manager. Now that Dak can deliver from the pocket. He ain't delivering W's, but he delivering tight window balls. And so all I'm asking for Jane is to keep growing. And I believe in him. This guy is a guy who I don't know a recent guy that has his worth ethic. And so all that does translate. He knows how to win. Stats or not, one thing about him is that clutch playmaker gene, and that's why he was able to take a 4-win team, not have all the pretty passing stats, and still win 9 games, right? He took a 4-win team, knew everything, and he did it the gritty way, right? Yeah, it wasn't all pretty. Sometimes he had 120 yards passing. Only threw there was games where they only let him throw the ball 20 sometimes, but he won.
What
and
a
so
6-game
I'm taking everything.
because our coaches the first couple of games didn't even know how to coach. 6-game handicap in the beginning. Not running the ball. You have a whole stadium telling you to run the ball. Not running the ball. That was a handicap for Jalen Hurts' development right off the jump. Like
look, you guys said about those games. I think for me, the one thing people will seem to miss out on is the fact that the kid had a high ankle sprain and he came back when most people wouldn't come back, especially quarterbacks. So he came back and played the rest of the season with that high ankle sprain bothering him. From the people close to him, this thing was double the size of a regular ankle. And this dude was going out there taped up. Nobody really knew. So that took away what Mike had said. What is such a big thing for Jalen Hurts. You look at Lamar Jackson, you want to give him credit. Well, give Jalen Hurts, because when you have that, teams are afraid. Well, the Giants knew that he wasn't going to be able to run on us, so they went after us. They knew he was going to have to stay in the pocket. Well, I think that was a great learning lesson, because you learn that, man, I really do have to get better in the pocket because I'm going to take a bruising if I run all the time. And I think also, what great experience to go up against Tom Brady. Look, we lost, but we made it. You said it. No one gave us a chance to win more than 4 games. So you took a 4-win team, won 9 games, and you made the playoffs, got some experience, something Carson Wentz never got. So I think it was huge. I love it, man.
Yeah. And I agree. And like I said, look, I believe in the kid 100%. I just know that, as much as Smoke Law said, Jalen knows what he got to work on. And Jalen understands that the comfortability inside the offense is important to know exactly where you're going pre-snap and all that. So I think all that comes, right? I've talked about, the whole Josh Allen thing, and I know they're different body frames and throw style and all that, but Josh Allen became Josh Allen for
Be
2
careful.
reasons. Huh.
I got murdered for saying, look at how he started. Dude, I got murdered. People
you don't even have to start there. You can go with every single quarterback in the league. You can go with Patty Mahomes. He came out and told everybody, I didn't even know how to read defenses to my 3rd year. You look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning threw 16 interceptions his rookie year, and even more after that. Jalen only had 9 interceptions last year. He's safe with the ball. The things that we want to see him do better, yes, it takes time to do it. It takes 2-3 years starting quarterback before you're able to read these defenses, before you're able to do these things. So we can't just sit there and expect him just because he's our quarterback to go out there and do that. Like, I feel like what Jalen done last year and what I think he's going to do this year, sky's the limit for that guy. Like, MVP candidate. What if Jalen throws 4,500 yards and has 1,000 yards rushing? Like, that's the MVP of the league. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, off jump. And you take away all those, callback touchdowns, drop touchdowns. He has over 1,000 yards, 4,000 yards passing and close to 1,000 yards rushing already in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy has talent, and I'm ready to see what he turns into. To just talk about that thing. Here's the thing, though, but if we're going to use again, Peyton Manning threw interceptions, yes, he did, no doubt about that. But they're still different style quarterbacks. Peyton Manning was always going to try to win with his arm, and he was going to die trying that rookie year too. He didn't stop throwing. Where Jalen will say, you know what, I'm having a bad game, I'll win other ways, which I don't think is a bad thing. I hate when people say running is a bad thing. Now, if you rely on running more than throwing, and that's going to be a problem. In the longevity of a career, we've seen that it's not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for success when you do it both equally good, right? The year that Lamar Jackson started running a lot, right? They were so cramped down in the box, he threw 33 touchdowns. So, and he had some rushing. I don't know what he had rushing, but to your point though, Pat Mahomes couldn't read defense to year 3, but he was already in the 2 Super Bowls by then too. You know what I mean? So there is context to everything.
Sure. I was going to say, we're not comparing them, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get mad. Just saying it takes time to develop. That's all.
Yeah, it does. And again,
and if you really want to compare to his numbers to everybody else.
Well,
like
again,
I said, six all the time. Like, how many stacks, like you said, explosive runs, explosive plays.
Let's compare him to Lamar Jackson real quick, right? If you look at him compared to Lamar Jackson, I think he's already ahead of the curve throwing the ball.
I do too.
Than Lamar Jackson was in his career. I'm not saying right now Jalen reading defense and throwing last year and Lamar reading defense and throwing last year, Jalen's ahead of him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when Lamar was in that many games in the league, I think Jalen's already above that curve. You can even say Josh Allen He's above that curve there too. And the thing is, there was two things. But here's the thing. I hate to compare him to like the 99 and 2000 guys because the game has changed dramatically.
Definitely.
Oh, Mike, that's one thing I do not like. You know, when people be like, oh, it's a passing league now compared to then. Because then we still have 4,000-yard passers. Like, you know, the Peyton Mannings were still Peyton threw 4,000.
Yeah, but now we have 5,000-yard passers.
Yeah, 5,000. But
let me
still,
just say this,
even then, back then, like they were still doing 4,500, 4,300.
BG,
like,
let me just say this to you real quick.
The Favres, all the top elite quarterbacks, they were still putting up big passing numbers.
Correct. Now, you don't have to be an elite quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards. Jared Goff does it. Derek Carr does it. Kyler Murray almost did it, and he was out for 3 games, right? Carson Wentz did it without a 500-yard receiver, and he's not that good. So what I'm saying to you is this, and BG, I'll just run down the list. Back in the day, cornerbacks could play more physical. You can hit over the middle, and guess what? Quarterbacks were scared because they can hit below the waist and above the waist. So I'm just saying that the game is meant to protect. I'm not saying it does any better because now people get hamstrings left and right because they're running at such a high speed, their body can't keep up. Like, we're growing. Like, look, there was no Jordan Davis back in the day. There was no such thing as a guy that size that could run that much. You know what I'm saying? And BG says it all the time. Jordan Davis is something that we never seen before. You never seen a guy that big run that fast. So things are changing in a sense of body, nutrition, science. Dude. But I can just say this, though, again, pass interferences, hitting in the middle. What I'm saying is the players are safer. And I feel bad for cornerbacks nowadays because they get called for everything. And shout out to the great ones. They still have the mindset to go out and play. But I'm saying receivers didn't want to run through the middle. Now you can get a lot of yak through the middle. Quarterbacks didn't want to stay in for that extra pass because they can hit you up, down, left, right. Now they say, they can only hit me here. If they hit me hard, I get a free 15. So I'm saying the game is meant to score more and produce more. So, but I understand development-wise, they still went through all that. But again, these young guys get thrown out there earlier. Back in the day, it was really common to grab your guys, sit them on the bench, let them learn, let them relax. Now you got to go in there and produce right away. It's just the nature of the game. The money's getting more. Social media, the pressure is so much more. You used to have to wait for a newspaper to come out to hear how bad you were. Now you just pick up your phone and everybody's clowning you, you know?
During the game. Not even after the game. During the game.
Don't look at it at halftime.
Facts.
It's just changed world. You know, we weren't doing this.
I remember reading in the paper when we traded for Ronnie Brown. I was waiting for my train. I'm like, freaking out. That's man. Wow, we've come a long way. So I agree with both of you. BG, football is always going to be football, baby. So you got to have that drive. But I agree with what Mike's saying. You have to change because of the rules, the freakish athletes, man. I mean, the whole game's changing. And he said it, man. I feel horrible for corners, but thank God we got Slay and Bradbury and Maddox because, man, is it scoring friendly, man. It really makes it easier for receivers and quarterbacks. So you both hit the nail on the head.
But just like how we say it's going towards a passing league, if you're looking at the quarterbacks coming through nowadays, you're going towards a more athletic quarterback that is running. Agreed. So it was in the passing league, I feel like, and now it is transitioning off into the dual threat quarterbacks again. You know, like where they're going to be the most, and then who got the best dual threat quarterback on their team?
I think diversity is the big thing in the NFL now. I think you can win with all of them, different ones, different defenses, different quarterbacks, different styles that work. And look, we're switching last year to an odd front and everybody's scared, but it's like, I wanted that to happen. I knew with the players it was scary, but look at it this year. Look at the players you have. You're like, holy shit, this is going to be really great when going against the Cowboys, when going against teams that the Buccaneers. So it's definitely changing. And I think we're changing with it. Love what the Eagles did to, stay up with the game.
Yeah, and again, as BG said, even look at some of the guys who can win from the pocket, right? Let's just say some of these new young guys in the game. Pat Mahomes can win from the pocket, but he's also a dual threat. Russell, also a dual threat. Dak, also a dual threat. Sometimes they don't use that much in the game, but it's at their need. Like listen, at the end of the day, they're going to maximize what is the best. Oh, I got a 10-yard pass, or I got a 5-yard run, 8-yard, 10-yard run, but there's not that many. Peyton Manning's, Drew Brees' and Tom Brady's. They are the GOATs. They are leaving the game. Even the Joe Burrows and Justin Herberts. They win from the pocket, but they can get loose. I mean, like back in the day, it was only, there's Steve Young. He'll win from the pocket, but he'll move. And then everybody else was just winning from the pocket. And then it started changing. And I think nowadays, look at Carson Wentz. He's a ginger, right? And he was running like that. Big Ben. doing his thing. So I think that the mobility is a factor, but you got to have them both. And I think Jalen Hurts is climbing and he's working. Mm-hmm. And all I'm saying is a guy who's working this hard, a guy who's going through the work, and a guy who showed you something already in year one of starting in a brand new system where the where we had no expectations. He's part of the reason we have expectations going into this offseason, because we felt good at the end of that season, regardless of who we played and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. It comes down to we got so much better and we already felt like we were a decent team. And so I think still the put together factor has to work. You can't, it's the ultimate team sport. You can't just throw guys out there. But I think what we did on defense and offense is going to help. And as much people say defense don't help, hey, if you get a couple extra possessions for Jalen Hurts, he's going to go to work with it. But now let's flip into the defensive side. Where do you stack up our secondary? I'm talking the whole secondary now. If I say just corners with the 3-piece, it's a little higher. But now we're going to include the Anthony Harris's, and I believe Marcus Epps gets the first nod. Where do you stack up our secondary in the league?
I think it's one of the better ones. I think, just trying to think top of my head, there are definitely some really great ones out there. So maybe like top
real quick,
8-ish.
I got nothing against gingers. I'm just saying, I mean,
I knew you were joking. But dude, I think, with this team, looking at what they were supposed to add, what they needed to add to this team, right? So I think a lot of people try to come at you with the negativity, right? I'm sure you guys both get it. And it's like, oh yeah, well, teams don't, and Mike hit the nail on the head. You can't just throw people together and expect it to work. They actually have to work together and get better. So, people will use that as their negative thing. Well, they've never they need to start somewhere. And the Eagles needed help desperately at each position that we have mentioned, the nose tackle, the Sam linebacker, the 2 linebackers in the middle there, the corner. So we needed it because of the other areas where there are some questions. Mike, you said earlier, and I loved it, in the next couple of years, we better put an emphasis on getting younger in that secondary, getting a young corner to learn from these vets that we have now. And the safety position, biggest question mark, right? So that's where I love you added that in, because with the top 3 corners, hell yeah, that's one of the best. I love it.
Top 5
safeties. Easily. Yes. So Anthony Harris, you're like, okay, he's getting older, but he started doing pretty well last year when he started getting his foot under him, learning the system. And what people don't realize is, as a safety, when things are not going well in front of you, things are going to get really bad for you down low. So, dude, it was real bad for our safeties, real bad for a lot of people last year. So I think Marcus Epps, you said it. I think he's going to get the first shot. I think that's a guy, another versatile guy like Anthony Harris. Both can play free safety or strong safety. Marcus Epps' coverage skills really improved last year. So I love the versatility there. And look, would I be against adding Jesse Bates? No, I'd have to be high as hell to say that. I would love to have him. I'm just saying with what we have now, look, with that front 7 we mentioned, with all those pieces, the rotation, not just 7 guys, the whole rotation. And that right there in itself, that's how the Eagles won the Super Bowl, having a rotation of Chris Long, Michael Bennett with Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett. So you have a rotation again. That makes me feel much more comfortable about the back end. You're getting to the quarterback faster. You're not 31st in the league with 29 sacks like we were last year. That's unacceptable. Horrible. So you fix that, and that makes it much easier on that secondary with great corners. Hopefully, with a lot more press getting up on the line. We got some tough guys, not too much Slay, but you can do a lot more things that make it easier for the safety. But if you had added Jesse Bates, this would be one of the top this would be the top secondary, one of the top secondaries in the game. So that goes to show you, I'm sure Howie's trying, and he's been making calls, but I don't think the Bengals will get rid of Bates. They'd be crazy to. But, I'd love to have him. But right now, Mike, you said it. Marcus Epps, go get it, man. I'm excited. And Kayvon, look, I still got hope for you. Maybe some big nickel. We'll have 3 safeties in there. You can get your show on. Dude, look, I thought he fit nicely as a guy that can cover tight ends, running back, certain skill set he had. So, hey, I've got a lot of hope. And that's why you said it. I'm excited for this off-season stuff because I want to see all these damn battles.
Yeah. BG, I know you're a guy advocating for. I think we're done making moves. Let's go out there and play. But where do you got our secondary?
Because it goes back to what you say. Like, there's never a perfect team, And two things I want to say, to the point of like, oh, it's going to take time for these guys to gel together. No, it doesn't. It didn't take time for the Rams to gel together when they added mid-season Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr. to your team.
Sometimes
when you add elite talent, it doesn't matter. That's what takes that learning curve away. When you got bona fide, star players on your roster, it don't take that much time for these guys to adjust. They're already good no matter what. That's what they call plug and play. And we pick up a lot of plug and play top players on our roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, BG, and I want you to expand on it. Again, I agree. Top talent, plug and play. But sometimes you realize maybe he was a top talent because the way that DC was using him, and outside that scheme, he's not so good because Nnamdi Asomugha was a legit shutdown corner. Byron Maxwell was a super solid number 2 in that Legion in Seattle, and both them guys come to us and was boo-boo. Now,
but
Slay
a big
came
thing
to
with
us
that
and proved
too
the fact
is,
that you
Mike,
said you're right.
We talked about this before. When you get some players, when they get paid, their game just drops off anyway. You know, after
I
they
think
get
for me,
that big contract, when they're already playing at a high level, and then you get them that big contract, you know, you're talking about they're already in their prime, you know what I'm saying? And then they're coming off that contract being in their prime. Now you gave these guys all this money. And we said this about the Cowboys, the Zekes, the Coopers and stuff. When they got that money, stats started to go down. You know, the difference with this guys is these guys are before their prime. These guys are before their prime that we got.
No. Bradbury.
Asomugha in his prime, I think, was not the right fit. So for me, I think it was a football-related problem. I don't think he's fit.
Castillo as our DC.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's not a fit. He does not fit what we were doing. And we were doing nothing. So he didn't fit anything. I agree with you 100%. And like BG just said, now when I said it, it's going to take time. So what I'm saying is don't expect this defense to be the top defense week 1. Oh, now we are playing the Lions, thank God. But you got the Vikings. Don't lose your mind if there are some bumpy roads at first. That's all I'm saying. But I had already said it. We literally added the specific players I mentioned this offseason because they fit so well. So it is plug and play. So I agree with what you're saying. It may take time, but you got Jordan Davis. You need a nose tackle. You got 2 cover linebackers. You got an outside corner, and you got a Sam linebacker. And they're all going to play a lot and have huge roles. So I get what you're saying, and I think they're going to be dominant. I do.
And that's why I tell the fans, like, at the end of the season, after that playoff game, we all made our list, you know, what the Eagles need to be contenders, right? And how we literally went out and filled all those voids, every single position down the line. We have to dig and try to find, okay, safety then. You know, first it's like we don't have no receivers. Then we don't have no linebackers. We fill those up. Okay, well, what don't we have next? You know, we need some more in. We re-signed a couple of our own players. Okay, now what else can we go to? Cornerback. Okay, we go get Bradbury. Okay, now safety is like, and I still don't think we're done yet. I think we could see another big splash move before the season starts. Just because he did us so soon, there's still so much time before we actually play a football game. So it's like when you fill in all those voids, like why? Like that's why I'm on the board. Like you better be excited now. Like this is the time because guess what? If Jalen Hurts don't work out, we in a lot more. It's not a quarterback away situation no more. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody needs to be motivated now about this team because if Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, which I know he will, trust me, I'm 1,000% Hurts season. I know he will. I'm not even doubting that. But if he doesn't, our team's gonna be in a worse situation. You know, because we're gonna have 6, 7, 8 starters gone next year. You know, you look at guys like Fletcher Cox's gonna be gone. Kelsey's gonna be gone. Lane Johnson only got a couple more years. You know, there's a lot of other 1-year contracts that are going to be gone. So those first 2-round picks, if you just used it for a quarterback, your team is still going to be incomplete. We're going to be back in the same hole we were in before. So I think everybody need to get on board now.
You got a replacement for all those guys already, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Jurgens. Well, look, let's just see. We got Jordan Davis to replace Fletch. We got Jurgens to replace Kelsey, right? We got
Driscoll, Dillard, and Clark all battling.
The team now versus that team.
No.
Like you said, those guys are replacing them, but right now those guys are depth, meaning they're going to have good talent coming in after them.
Exactly. Yeah, they get to learn from the greats. That's what we want.
Yeah, well, let me just say this though, and I agree with you in the sense of if Jalen Hurts is not the guy, you're hurt because I still think this team is talented enough. If Jalen Hurts goes ahead and has the exact same season of last year, and people and the Eagles organization start to say, "Dang, this is really who he is." He's not. I mean, we gave him all this stuff, and he's the same. Well, then guess what? We still win about 9-10 games, right? And so now we're out of there. And for everybody to say, "Well, you got 2 first-round picks," listen. If you're in the top 5, it's mainly because you don't have a quarterback. Not that many teams have a good quarterback, and it happens every once in a while. But if you have a good quarterback, you're normally doing something. A team can carry a team, a stacked defense or offense can carry a bad quarterback, and a bad quarterback can carry a bad team. With that being said, the the quarterbacks that we're going to be really, really interested in, right? Like the guys that are supposed to be sure things, they're going 1, 2, 3, 4, or they're going 1, 3, 5. And if we try to get up there, they need a quarterback. We want a quarterback. They're going to say 2 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks. No, I would give up 3 first-round picks to come and get this guy. This is what we need. This is why we're here. So I think that it's not that easy to say, well, we can easily package your picks and go up and get that guy. Well, guess what? If I'm number 3 and you're knocking on my door, and there's a reason I'm number 3. I got to get a quarterback.
No doubt.
So I think it's a lot harder. Now, maybe if you find a guy that you really like at 20-something, which we've seen done, but now you're taking, you're doing that. And again, that's where you can get on that carousel with, damn, we just keep missing on quarterbacks, because even the best quarterbacks in the first round it's a 50% shot. It's a 50% shot that you come out with a quarterback. Look at Baker Mayfield. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Daniel Jones. Look at Dwayne Haskins. Look at the numerous first-round picks that didn't succeed in the NFL. Now let's see how this bunch does with the Trey Lances and all them and the Justin Fields. Their story's not written, but we still got to see, right? Tua was the sure thing. Herbert was why would they pick Herbert? Herbert looking real extra right now. Tua, I'm not saying Tua's done. Tua got a lot. Tua's hip was a big problem, but the quarterback, it's the hardest thing to fully judge, explain, because a guy like Jimmy G, you go off the wins, but you can't go off the stats because he doesn't look like a good quarterback. A guy like Deshaun Watson his last year does everything you need him to do, but he only gets 4 wins. The quarterback position is the hardest to grade, look at, and scout, because so many people say this guy's a sure thing. No, they're not. And so it's really tough. And I don't even want to think about Jalen Hurts not being a guy, to be honest. Now, if we're week 8, week 9, week 10, and I can see the results in black and white in my face, now I just start discussing it. But for me in my off season, where everything I own is some type of Eagles, I'm a fan. I do this stuff and I try to give my best take on it. And I do watch football, I think, enough where I'm not the guru, but I know what I'm talking about. And so I speak from the mind. I try to be honest. But I want us to be the best. I want us to be 17-0. I want Jalen Hurts to work. But the thing is, besides all the wants, I've seen enough where I am sold on the growth. And if I see growth, I'm good.
Facts.
Yep.
That's all I want. You're definitely one of the ones that always said, if you did not see growth from week 1 to week 17, you're blind. You're not being true to yourself for the most part. Yeah. Because he definitely grew. When everybody said he couldn't stay in the pocket, we seen him stay in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jalen Hurts, man, and I don't even think it's fair that we even saying this year, if he's not all world, that he don't need to be our quarterback. Like you said, you heard Patty come out 3 years, it's 2, 3.
Yeah, he's our quarterback. Years. I mean, I don't think there's any other discussion about it. I think all 3 of us are on the same page there. I really don't think these guys out here that are talking their slander know what they're watching, because the things they say aren't true first. But it's like, if you didn't see, and trust me, I got lots of slack last year. Each week I try to, hey, look, here's where he improved. They're showing me plays that are literally not even plays designed to go to Devontae Smith. See, he missed this throw. And it's like, bro, that's not even. So it's, to me, it's like, look, we've seen it. You know what I mean?
There's still Paul's picture of a guy open, but you're not really showing where Jalen Hurts is in his progression.
What's the play? What's going on? You're
not saying that Jalen Hurts is already come hand cocked like this, going to the other read, whether it's the right read or wrong. But it's a game of inches and seconds, and you can pause it. You know what I mean? Like, I blink every once in a while. If you pause it right, you'll say, look at Philly Mike was sleeping on the whole stream. Philly Mike was sleeping the whole time. You know what I mean? And perception is perception. So I like to see the full video. And yes, he missed more reads than a Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. But everybody misses reads. You can go through every single tape and say, damn, Brady, Wilson, what's up? But the good ones, they don't do it often. So if you catch them sleeping, take that one, and it's not going to happen again and again and again. And so it's just growth.
Especially last year, too. If you didn't notice, the beginning of the season last year, all your elite quarterbacks, for one, how many elite quarterbacks go back to back besides Tom Brady in terms of arm talent alone? Not a lot of these guys. Even Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks ever. How many Super Bowls has Aaron got?
Exactly. It's a team game.
Okay, it's a team sport. But if you look back, even in the beginning of last year, all these elite quarterbacks were playing like trash in the beginning. There was a lot of them playing like trash. They weren't very good. The NFL had I think I heard it was the all-time low in terms of scoring. That scoring per game went down last year. It wasn't scoring as many points as it was the year before. I think I heard. So putting those two things together, you got to realize everything needs to be adjusted. If you're going to say that the NFL as a whole didn't even score as many points as they did, you're going to say that, these elite quarterbacks didn't even put up the numbers that they normally do, then, you got to take that same flight with Jalen Hurts in terms of how good he did his first year.
Yeah, and look at the fact that he had 12 out of his 13 games were a different offensive line to start his career, and people seem to miss out on that. And we talk about this all the time. He has not had the same system since high school. So people can say what they want, but you have to break down, like Mike said, it is seconds, inches. You have to know what you're watching. You have to break down everything. What's this receiver doing? What's the lineman doing here? Why did he have to come out of the pocket? Was he supposed to? Should he have stayed in the pocket? You have to be able to look at everything and know what you're talking about. And people, they just wild out, man. They're like, well, Chris Sims said he's number 40, so he sucks. And it's like, well, I don't really care because I want to see week to week what he does. So Mike said it, BG said it. I saw development each week. And yes, he had bad games, but it's how did he come back the next week? Did he make those same mistakes? And something Mike said earlier, I loved it. He started hitting the middle of the field, left side of the field, and that was huge. And obviously the run game being implemented was huge for everybody. But yeah, dude, having Steichen call plays, all that, they're all working together to get better. This is the first-year system, first-year starter. So in year 2, I'm pumped and ready to go. And I don't think whatever that comment was, I don't think anybody's, out here saying he was, oh, dude, he didn't have bad games. No, we're saying, how did he come back from those? And we liked it.
Correct. And again, it's all about how you respond in the NFL. And again, we saw sample sizes of Carson Wentz, who was the MVP type thing, couldn't sustain it. So, one sample size of being bad, one sample size of being great. You can't hold value to that for what it is, right? Nick Foles had his best game stretch of games ever. He still hasn't been able to do it for any franchise and probably wouldn't. I still love him, though. Thank you, God. With that being said, yes, there is deficiencies in Jalen Hurts' game, and he understands that. But at the end of the day, when people say that he was in college and he's been throwing like this, that, and the third, he was able to win games without winning from the pocket, right? If I'm a boxer and I keep beating people with my right hand, I don't got to use my left hand. Well, then I don't use it. But now he realized he got to use his left hand. He got to use the uppercut. He got to use a lot more his tool bag. And so all I'm saying is that we saw him be productive when he had deficiencies. He might never fix it, but if he does, watch out. And when you work as hard as Jalen Hurts, I'm going to fall back and say, I got nothing to judge him on right now except for what he's saying and what I see from OTAs. And I understand OTAs. The greatest play, I'm not going to take it to my bank. And the worst play, I'm not going to take it to my bank because it is OTAs. But it's good to know that so far, what has been reported out there is starting to look like it a little bit on the field. There's no reason Sirianni had to say this about him. Dallas Goedert didn't. When they asked Dallas Goedert, has Jalen Hurts been working? You could have said, yep. He said, what have you seen from him? You just say he's just a better overall player. He didn't have to go in and say, I see a lot of less hitches. The ball's more accurate. Hey, a little crisper. You know what I mean? He just feels more comfortable in the system. And again, part of Jalen Hurts' prime was the quick reads or getting the ball out quick enough and just knowing exactly where he needed to go with the ball. And that all comes time. All I'm saying is there's going to be doubt. We live in a world where everybody can say what they say. And yes, Jalen Hurts understands all that, but he's built to absorb that and just go out there and play his best ball. So all I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, I think a lot of things come down to Jalen Hurts, but we also got to get good coaching from Nick Sirianni in a full season. Jonathan Gannon got to step up, although as many people hate him and are very nervous about him, I too am nervous. I just think that he showed us what he wanted to do, and it didn't look good because we didn't have the tools to do it. So I go to grocery store, I'm putting garbage, I don't know. I already have my box.
Linebackers, man. In that statement with linebackers.
You're putting Fruit Loops in your lasagna, bro. That's not working.
This doesn't work. Yeah. And you know how it is. We over an hour. We're going to go for a little bit more. Shout out to the people in here. Again, we are live on 2 different platforms, Philly Talk Podcast and BIRDGANG 31. And listen, we're not live on this channel, but go to just type in On the Road to Victory in the search bar, and you'll see Jimmy Smith on the Road to Victory come up, and you can hit that subscribe button. We'll definitely do a lot more collabs throughout the season when the season's here. But yeah, it was great talking. Again, it's always funny because it always circles back to Jalen Hurts because of a couple things, because it's the quarterback position in today's game, and it's also Philadelphia. And we definitely three hard positions to play in Philadelphia: GM, head coach, and quarterback.
Facts.
Right now, though, the big 3 right now in terms of pressures, Gannon, Steichen, and Sirianni. Those are the guys.
I think for me, there's no pressure, dude.
He's like, here you go. All your players you want. All of them. Here you go.
I don't get why. For me, it's you're in the NFL. There is effing pressure on you to perform, or you will lose your job to the guy behind you.
Listen, every time I get Spadero on, I try, and I know he's gonna say it. I just want to one time let him slip up because I had him on a bunch of times. I'm like, Spadero,
yeah,
who has the
I
most
can see it too.
And he always like they're NFL players. Listen, no matter how much you put pressure on them, they putting more pressure on themselves than what any of you fans. Not saying it's not good to do that. You guys have your expectations, but
I just mean for me, they're just not like feeling the pressure, right? I just think this is because of Jalen Hurts. You said it all comes back to him because of him, and just. Dude, he's got that swagger, man. I think this whole team, I just feel they're all going to play a little more freely like we did in 2017. It was a team that, it's like, how did they win the Super Bowl? It's like they were a brotherhood, baby. We all watched it. That was a Philadelphia team. That was the underdog story. So we've got a lot better pieces this year. If these guys start gelling and really get that mentality and that brotherhood. And I'm not saying, look, BG, I agree with you. There's always going to be pressure on these guys. They have to succeed. They're going to lose their jobs. I'm just saying for me, I feel that they all are putting that same pressure on each other. They're going to band together and we're going to whoop some ass this year.
Love that. Real quick, shout out to my guy Michael Felder in the building with the $10 super chat. Much love, much respect. Always showing that Eagle love. But yeah, man, the season has I got high expectations. I think that double digits is a must in the win column. I think just looking at the schedule and sense, I had it around 11 or 12, 11 being my we lost on that we should have won, and 12 being my I think that's just right. Now if we can win more, hey, I'm never going to be mad about it. But let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this, not record wise, but and I think I don't know if I asked BG on the last one when I had when it was BG and JC. So again, we haven't seen much, and again, you think the offense has a little bit more reps in, right? Because it's really AJ Brown being thrown in and everybody getting better, right? What do you think by middle of the season this team is going to have rely on more? That's not saying that if you pick this side of the ball, the other side of the ball is bad, because you can have a team that has the two sides of the ball that are good. But by the middle of the season, do you think this is going to be our bread and butter, the defense or the offense?
You want me to go first? I think the bread and butter is
by mid-season. So, the defense got to work out some of the kinks more, but by mid-season, just knowing just gut feeling, what side of the ball is just really dominating. And not saying the other side's bad.
I think by week 2, you're going to get one of the greatest tests. You got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen there. So I think the secondary is going to get their hardest test, and you've got your front seven, I think, is just going to continue to get better each week. So for me, I think they are going to be one of those teams, and I think this is what the Ravens are trying to build right now, and that's why we jumped in front of them to get Jordan Davis. But rely on that run and let your defense just punch people right in the mouth, dude. And I really feel that we are going to be one of those teams. And I said it last year on BG's show, get excited. And people are like, what the F you, man? I'm not getting excited. And I said, look, this year is going to be tough. But next year, I can promise you with the amount of money, get yourself excited, because if Howie hits, man, it's go time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to be a man of my word. We went out and got all those pieces, so get excited, because I'm telling you, we were a 9-win team last year. Tell me you can't win 2 more, so I'm with you. Last night I won on a show. I said floor, 11 wins, ceiling, I think we can win 14. I think this team really could beat some ass if they go out here. That Vikings team is going to be pivotal, but I think they're going to learn a lot about themselves. But you asked the question, midway through, I think you get that bye week, and then right after it's the Steelers and then the Texans on a Thursday. So that's weird. But I think at that point already, I think we're not going to have to wait, because last year, BG said it, we're all run the damn ball. I think we're going to come out, run that effing ball, but the play action passes, the things that AJ Brown's going to allow us to do with Devontae Christ, all this, I can't wait. I think it's going to be hard not to say that, we're just a passing team, but what it reminds me of is, you guys remember like the 2000 Ravens, but we don't have Brian Johnson, dude. We've got a dual threat. What they have in Lamar Jackson, they're hoping he could be. That's what they're trying to build, and I think we're jumping in front of them, and I really, just like I said last year, I think if we draft correctly and sign correctly, which we, all these gentlemen right here and the people in the chat, we talked about, we added the right pieces for the future. And I said, I think this team could be a dynasty if Jalen Hurts is the guy I think he could be. And if you add, and we did, We did. You said it. The tiers, everybody. We added the veterans that can help the young guys. Got the young guys that can help. I cannot wait.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
I love Jimmy, man.
Hey, real quick before we let
that heat.
Before we let
bring that heat, man.
Thank you.
Shout out to Drew Johnson, channel member and great supporter of a lot of Eagle content creators with the $5 super chat, and he's dropping Jimmy Smith's link for his YouTube channel on the road to victory. So again, click on it right now, leave the chat, go ahead and hit subscribe, come back. He'll be dropping out a lot of knowledge. You do mainly live streams, right?
Yep. Always go live, man. And
Always
I do some highlight videos too. I know people like those, but always try to give the interaction. And then, I do the stuff with the cap and breaking down the schemes. I just, doing the same thing that most people are trying to do. Just give the information you think people will love. So that's why I love you guys, man. Just spreading that brotherly love. But Drew, you're the man. Thank you, man.
Nah, you the man. Everybody the man. We all Eagle content creators are the man. Now forget the other NFC East. With that being said, before BG goes, chat, I want y'all to chime in. It's a hard decision, and you have no ill will to the other side of the ball. By mid-season, is the offense going to be a little bit better, or the defense? What is going to be the better side of the ball? I don't think you said it in that long sequilatory.
Defense.
Defense.
I think they're going to rely on that defense and just let we're going to be a good offense. But yeah, I think that defense is going to be nasty.
Jimmy got defense. BG's going to go, but hey, chat, I need y'all to chime in. Let's go. BG, who you got?
I'm gonna say the offense, man. I'm gonna say the offense because I think the defense is really gonna, really make their mark towards the back end when you really need them. Defense wins championships, especially in the cold seasons. You know what I'm saying? You need that defense to go out there and shut teams down. I think that's when our defense is gonna come alive and really shut teams down. You can be like, whoa, the Eagles defense is something to mess with. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, they out there doing big things. I think the beginning of the season, you're gonna see a lot of, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, like all these young stars, they're going to come up and they're going to show up and show out, and it's going to be crazy. Miles Sanders is going to be running that rock. It's going to look really nice out there. So I'm going to have to go with, by mid-season, I'm looking at the Eagles, 7-8 wins by then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really have us going high. I said like in my first one.
Yeah, I was like the whole mid-season.
Let's
go.
Mid-season is like week 8, and you're like, yeah. So by week 8, we'll have about 8 wins.
Yeah,
we're going 9 wins by week 8. Let's go.
For real, like honestly, guys. When you guys look at our schedule,
I love it.
I really feel like we can beat every single team on that.
Let's go.
I feel like, I'm not like everybody else think that. Like even the Lions game, I don't think there's going to be some blowout. I think the Lions definitely got better this year. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh my God, we dismantled them like we did last year. It's going to be a lot closer than that. Yeah. But like for real, I keep saying 13-4, but I notice whenever someone brings up the schedule and we're kind of going down the schedule, it's hard for me to pick those 4 games.
Really, it is, right? It's like I think we can win more.
Those 4 games. It's me saying
14. I had to stop myself.
Yeah, it's like how I don't see it, but if I had to go off of what everybody think, okay, you got division. Maybe the Cowboys split with us. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Carson Wentz gets lucky once. Some division game or something like that. But other than that, man, like this team is locked and loaded. Like I think the Eagles are a top 5 team in the league. Maybe 6. In the league.
Hey, I ain't mad at it, but I'm a co-sign with BG. I'm gonna go offense. And again, I know my talk is the middle of the season, so I was gonna start this off by saying I think the offense is more ready, but we're talking about middle of the season, so the defense will be ready by then.
That's what I thought you meant. At
the
beginning of the season, yes, offense. I agree with you, but
I agree. No, I did say middle of the season multiple times, but I still think the offense is because of the bread and butter of the run game. Bread and butter of, I think if you think out of all the groups, no matter how much I love the D-line, no matter how much I like the new linebacking core, the secondary, the wide receiver group is great. We still go and we live and die by our offensive line. So I think the bread and butter is the offensive line. The run game is going to be great. The receivers, all the weapons that Jalen Hurts has at his dispense, even at the running back position, catching the balls and stuff, is just terrific. And I think that Jalen Hurts is going to come out there and be like, I don't know why y'all thought I wasn't going to be good. I told y'all, why didn't y'all listen? And so I really do think this offense is going to click. I think we're going to be able to really dice things up. And I can't wait to run the ball with Miles and Kane and Gainwell, and even Hurts get his. And the thing is going to be this: defenses are going to come into the link or come into a matchup with Philly and say, damn, they got Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and AJ Brown, but we still got to put 8 in a box. And when you put 8 in a box, and now you got, as AJ Brown said, not wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, you got wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 1. Smith was getting bracket coverage as a rookie. Now you're going to get single on the left or single on the right, or you're going to have your worst linebacker, one of your slowest pieces of the secondary, try to guard the Dallas Goedert, or you're going to go dime and have a little 5'8" cornerback guard Dallas Goedert, and then don't forget Quez streaking down the lane. All I'm saying is that I think that the run game will not be forgotten, but the pass game is look. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a couple games where he throws for 280, 300 yards, and you can be like, dang, he threw the ball a lot more this season. No, he didn't. He threw the ball only 27 times. He was 24 or 27 for blah, blah, blah. Or he only threw the ball 29 times. He only 29 completed 23, 22, but he had 2 passes for 60 yards because of that single coverage out there and the explosiveness of Jalen Hurts and the back. So again, I would love the defense to be good because I'm a gritty guy and I love defenses late in the season getting cold out. You know,
that's my thought process.
No, yep. I agree, but I just think that this offensive line and just the thing that's built on offense and just, you know, people are just saying it's just AJ Brown. It's not. We went from and listen, I'm not trying to poo-poo Devontae, but being a rookie is still hard. So he was a wide receiver 1, but you know, he wasn't the best. He wasn't like, he's not Devontae Adams, and you know, not yet. This year he had to step to take all that. But you had an inexperienced guy who has a lot of talent. But now you got experience. He's supposed to be the 2, and it all trickles down. And
I want to change my pick. That's all I'm saying. I'm with you guys. Offense. I just misunderstood what you're saying, but I'm with you. And midway through the season, my thought process is what you both just mentioned there. I was just thinking midway through the season, okay, it's cold as shit. I want that defense when you come into Link, get punched in the mouth, but it's the same thing you're saying for offense. You got an offensive line that can bulldoze people and just run all over you. So I'm just going to go with, let's go. I'm with you guys.
People don't realize, man, that AJ is just like the trickle down effect from that. Because we really didn't add that many starters in terms of offense. Like, we got the same guys, but it's like the effect of, like, you know, when we seen in 16 or like, what was it? The year before last, so 19, when all that line went down, right? All of our offensive line went down. We had to throw in Herberts and Jack Driscoll's, right? Those guys were rookies that year. So, yeah, they played at a high level in some games. They kind of sucked in some games, but they got their experience in. So when 17 happened, we still lost. I mean, and 20 happened, we still lost linemen, but those guys had experience. So it's the fact that we got AJ Brown, and now, like you said, Devontae Smith to me was one of the best receivers last year as a rookie because he came into a different situation than Justin Jefferson when he came out, or Jamar Chase when he came out, a Waddle. Like, those guys didn't go in and have to be. As soon as Devontae Smith got drafted, he was number 1. Period. Yeah, those guys went into situations where Chase, Boyd, Higgins, you know what I'm saying, already established in the league. You know, Jefferson came in when Thielen's still there, one of the best in the league at the time. You know, like, these guys get to chill out, don't have the pressure on them while they're coming in. Devontae was number 1 right off the back.
And not only was he number 1, look who was his number 2.
Yeah.
Like, his number 2 was a guy who and listen, I try not to poo-poo on his name so much because I don't want him to get hurt. But at the end of the day, he's not a good football player. And when you look at this, think about this, right? Quez Watkins had a great season when you look at a Russian offense. And honestly, he was our second option, but he was treated per snap wise as the third option. He was more productive than number 2, but he was still the number 3 for the simple fact that go ahead and count the snaps. Rager out-snapped him by a little bit. It started to change at the end of the season, but with all the early results, it went to Rager. With that being said, you know, Devontae Smith, his whole rookie season, saw coverage he will not see in year 2. AJ Brown is going to see less coverage too, because let's be honest, AJ Brown's years in Tennessee with a running offense, he had Corey Davis on the other side. He went to the Jets. The only reason you go to the Jets is because you suck. And Julio Jones, for as much as I love him, he's always hurt. So AJ Brown didn't have Devontae Smith on the other side in Tennessee. Devontae Smith didn't have AJ Brown on the other side.
Gonna be one of the best 1-2 punches, bro.
And Quez Watkins wasn't now the dominant third snapper or a guy who's, and let's not forget Zach. I think he's going to be a nice big slot. I think he's big, physical. He'll get you that. He's going to take some snaps away from Quez. I think if you're in the goal line, you're trying to get it's a 3rd and 6, and you want to get that first down. I think Zach's going to be the option. You're far back. You're going to put Quez in to stretch the field, but Quez has grown as a 6th-round draft pick exponentially, and so I just think that you look at all that, and let's not forget. Dallas Goedert got the bag. He dropped some easy ones. He caught some tough ones. But the main thing about Dallas Goedert was this. For the beginning of the season, he had to share tight end duty still. This is his first year as saying, I am the guy. I got paid as the guy. I'm going to go out and play by the guy. And look, by this time a couple years ago, he got punched in the mouth. He's already on a better road than what he was a couple other off seasons ago. All that comes to this. Nick Sirianni wants to play 11 personnel a lot. He wants to run in 12 and whatnot too. But we don't got to force for half the season. Listen, we played 12 personnel for the majority of the first 7 games. And as BG said, when you play 12, you want to run out of 12. We played 12 and didn't run. We did everything backwards in the first couple games. So now we're going to play 11, run, play 11 and pass. And again, when you start talking like this, sometimes my analytics side goes out, and it's just like there's a reason I got a tattoo at 15 years old. Like my mom had to sign for it, and it was just me just taking my Eagles hat off and saying, "Hey, put it on my arm, all the way up here," because I was like 95 pounds, 110 pounds in high school as a 9th grader. So there's a lot of things to be excited for. And listen, if you're an analytical guy and you really want to, it's hard to get away from that. Well, then cheer now, because if you don't think things are going to be good, well, you'll have your time to be mad. Enjoy.
I wish more people would look at analytics and watch football. When I was a kid, analytics was cool to me because it wasn't a thing. Now people are like, well, PFF told me that. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I watch the game. I really don't care what your stats told me. I actually look at what the experience is that in front of my eyes. Okay, what is the situation here? Why are they running the ball? Why did he drop? Dude, there's so much that goes into it, and you said it, dude. I watch football, and I appreciate analytics. I think it really adds something. That's cool. But why can't people do both? Because, God, I'm with you, Mike. It drives me insane. It's like, how could you not be excited? You should be excited no matter who you are, analytic guy, football. I mean, it's all right there for you.
And people don't realize, like, Quez can end up being the biggest rewarder out of the one getting awarded the highest out of all 3 of these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went from being against the number 2 corner. Now you're going to get thirds, linebacker stuff. Quez is still one of the fastest guys in the league. Like, don't get that mistaken. Like, and it's like Deshaun Jackson type Quez. Quez reminds me of like a Deshaun Jackson type numbers, because you got, AJ pulling coverage, his big physical, receiver going over the middle. You got Smitty just juking receiver, just number 2 out of his mind. Because if he was toasting number 1s, he's going to definitely roast the hell out of number 2s, all year long. And then all that pressure. Then you talk about a guy like Dallas Goedert, one of the up-and-coming best tight ends in the league. Who's guarding Quez? Who?
He's a dog.
And
That's what I was saying earlier. It's going to open it all up for him.
Best catches. Like, he showed the most. Like, he was the one that when we were like, hey, these receivers aren't going to go get the ball. Like, Quez, every time he
contested catches,
he made sure he went and got that football. He had that dog mentality when it came to catching the ball. So
imagine Quez in the Z in motion. Imagine what a defense is looking at when they're like, holy shit, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders back there. Oh, yeah, the dual threat quarterback. No, there goes Quez in motion.
And Rager was the guy we always put in motion.
We tried.
Listen, again, we tried way too much. We tried to force it to him. But as BG said, look, I knew he was a dog. Real quick, let me get to the super chat. Almost missed it. Kyle said Carson Wentz. Time. That's when we were talking about guys who ain't built for the city and whatnot. But yeah, it comes to the fact of this guy just watched AJ Brown join the team as a guy who was already getting pushed down the depth chart to Jalen Reagor just because of draft status. He's looking at him in the locker room like, yo, I'm a good teammate, but I'm better than you. I'm better than you. You're just getting on the field because of that draft pack. With that being said, now you go ahead and add in AJ Brown. And what does he say at the podium the first time he gets to talk? That doesn't change anything for me. I'm going to do me. No, there's not a scared bone in his body. And I could just tell by I try not to hype it up as much, but like I do love the all-season workout that they put on IG and shows them. But I saw something in Quez, and I was one of them ones that if you go back and look at my first Quez My first video on Quez Watkins was the day after all the receivers ran a 40-yard dash. And I talked about the Justin Jeffersons and the Henry Ruggs and who was the guy who was scared of Philly that went to the
Denzel Mims.
Denzel Mims. And I talked about all of that, right? But I said Quez Watkins. I said this right after the 40-yard dash because he came in second to Henry Ruggs. I said I saw it. So then I watched a little tape, and I didn't watch like actual tape because I couldn't really find it. He was a Golden Eagle, but I talked about him right after the 40-yard dash as a late sleeper. Then as I did more and I started to see more about him, I talked about a little more, and I just been a Quez supporter from day one. And the growth was crazy. As BG said, you think he's just a speedster, but the training camp thing that the Eagles
wait till he's in motion and they hand that ball to him, baby. Oh, yeah.
Every year you see Quez get better. And like you said, Mike, you go back to some of my first videos. I've only been on here a year, so you don't have to go back that far. You know, some of those first videos about Quez Watkins, man. You know, it wasn't about everything else about Quez Watkins. Like that guy, you know, the fact that he didn't even play his first year to like what he did last year. When you see him come out of that offseason last year, you know, you didn't really see other receivers have so much, you know, off-season tape where you're like, dang, this guy's putting it out there. He want to show the world that, hey, I am out here busting my ass every single day, and I'm about to show you guys I'm not just some sixth-round pick. I am going to be a legit receiver in here. And now you take that progression over to this year, woo, it's scary, man.
You know what I see in front of him is literally Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. When you've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, those two are going to grow to be something special. I really think that's how I'm seeing it. Just growing up, watching those two, having that bruiser and then just having that guy that can catch every single effing thing you throw at him, whatever route you want to make him run. I mean, he can do it all. So that's the Larry Fitzgerald. Then you got your Bolden and A.J. Brown. Now Quez Watkins just gets to feast. So dude, I'm with you guys 100%.
Where do you guys put him? Top three without the tight end. Receiving top three receivers, like, you know, every team's top three. Where would you put them at?
Top five, but I don't know if I can get. I listen. The PFF just had we just poo PFF, but they just did their wide receiver core, and I don't believe they graded the tight end. And they had number one Tampa. They had number one. Who did they have number one?
Bengals.
The Bengals?
Yes. It was the Bengals. I can see that. Then Tampa Bay, right? I think Tampa Bay got a great wide receiving core, but I don't know about number two. But this is what PFF had: Bengals, Bucks, Dolphins, Eagles, Raiders. And I did a video on it, and I talked and I said the Bengals, I could see that because Higgins and Boyd, they fit the roles on side of Chase. Dolphins are going to have a monster of a guy. It's all about that. And we forget the slot is going to be anchored by Cedric Wilson, who just didn't get time in Dallas, but can play that position. I think what hurts the Eagles is because we don't know exactly who's going to play the slot in the sense of, is it Pascal, is it Quez? And yes, Quez can play the slot, but let's not act like some of his best catches weren't on the outside. Yep. But Devontae can move in. AJ's moved in the slot. We have a lot of versatility on that team. But like, because of the question mark there, I can say top five, but they're like the Bengals. Like, I don't know. I'm afraid to put them in front of the Dolphins a little bit. But the Eagles are one of them ones. I say top five. I don't want to get too greedy on here. I've been already, you know what I mean? So I got top five.
Top three.
I'm cool with four.
Yeah. I could agree with both of you, man. I'm trying to think in my head.
Say the Bengals, really, because you go Chase. AJ Brown's been proven. He's proven already. Chase did it 1 year. Everybody know about the 1 year wonders in the league. You know what I'm saying?
True. Higgins is pretty freaking good.
T. Higgins is good though.
Real good.
It's a dog. Don't get me wrong, but AJ's a dog too. So they kind of cancel each other out. And do you really think Higgins is better than Devontae Smith?
No, but
I think as a core, they're more proven. That's the only reason I have him in front.
Yeah, and I think that Tyler Boyd is what you want from a slot. Like he's a prototypical. He's not only just a like you think the slot. You think about the Wes Walkers and the Julian Edmonds that get you them little slants. No, he is a slot that can strike distance. Like he'll kill you with some post routes. So I think the Tyler Boyd factor, I'll give you that, right? So Chase is a rookie. I'm taking AJ Brown over Chase, like in his whole body of work. You got to see him do it more. But let's just say they're close because Chase just broke Chase is doing big. He broke Jefferson. Jefferson got that record for like a year or two, and he said, "I hold my beer." But I think it's the Boyd versus our slot which puts them ahead of us. That's the only reason. Because I do take Smith over Higgins, even though I was big on Higgins around that draft. I really was out of Clemson.
Same.
But I don't know
I'm with
because
you.
I think Quez, what did he do last year? 700-something yards.
Yes, but it wasn't
Like-
solely from the slot. So now that's the thing, though. I think the way we're going to be asking these receivers to play is like, dang, why is Devontae Smith in the slot? This thing. Oh, now is that Quez Watkins? Oh, snap.
Yeah,
AJ
they're gonna
Brown
move
motion
around.
they're going to move around. But if you ask Quez to just be a slot, I don't know how. I think he could. I know he could do it, but he's also like you said, BG. Some of them long bombs, some of them contesting catches. That was from the outside. There's a different route tree that needs to be ran in both. Like you can't just throw them in there and say go do it. So it does take some work. I mean, they're professionals and they all can grow their craft really well. I think they've done it in Pee Wee and all that. But I'll give you top three because I think Tampa Bay could be booted out a little bit.
Right?
I think they could be better than the Bengals though, because of the fact that they're interchangeable. The fact that they're not all strictly at a certain position. So the fact that AJ Brown can at his size be a slot. Imagine that guy catching one across the middle. Linebackers don't want any of that work, baby. I'm telling you that I agree with BJ and I agree with you because it's so hard here because it's like, okay, they're proven and they have Joe Burrow, but I'm not looking at the quarterback. They're proven because of that, right? It's like maybe they're a little bit better. It's like, look what Devontae was able to do with no other receiver around him. He's getting those bracket coverage. So, man, I'm really thinking, but I'm also, like you said earlier, I'm a realist. So I need to see it first. I'm going to try to pump my brakes, but I think in the long run, we could be better.
Let me just say this before BG goes. I think, listen, this tandem, and I said it in my video a couple days ago, and you hit it on the head too. It's like, look, I said AJ Brown is a perfect complementary, right? You got the guy who could take the top off better. You know, if you lined up 20 wide receivers, all the wide receivers in the game, Quez is coming in the top 20. He's that fast, right? He runs that 4.3 speed for a reason. It's legit.
Facts.
With that being said, you got the burner, you got the route runner, and you got the tough guy. And I said in my video, because some people would take things to heart, I said that's not saying that Devontae can't make the tough catches, and that's not saying that AJ Brown can't run routes. But I'm just saying the complementary what they're known for is all right there and beautiful, and the interchangeability is there. But this is what I would say: Tampa Bay and the Bengals are the only ones on that list that we saw do it at a high level. But they did throw out of the top 5, it's 2 that we seen do it, and the other 3 are what can be, because the Dolphins last year, they weren't in the top 5. They're being put in there now because of Cedric Wilson, Tyreek Hill with Waddle. The Raiders weren't in the top 5. They're being put there now because Renfro has proven his worth. That's why he got paid $15 million. And they got Devontae Adams and then the Eagles. So wait, Eagles, Dolphins, Raiders off of potential, and Bucks, Bengals off of what we saw. And then also,
so no Vikings were on there. I was trying to think. Osgood, right? Is their third or something? Or is it BB? Or who's their third receiver?
I don't know the third. I don't know the third.
See, that's why they're not on the list.
You have to add in Waller, and then that's bringing in the tight end. You know, if you just go pure receiver, we got a better receiver core than them. You know, like all these guys, even if you want to go Tampa Bay, Mike Evans and Godwin,
Chris Godwin.
Galladay or whatever name, he's not gonna be playing the beginning of the season for one, and for two, it's like he's not.
I think he'll be back. I think he got injured early enough. He should be. He should be there.
Game 1, he's supposed to be back.
Give or take, I think so, because he got injured.
I'm
early
no
in the
doctor,
season.
but I think he will
but
be.
You know, with injuries like that, it takes you a minute to really get back to your full elite self.
Unless you're Jeremy Maclin.
Now you got those 2 guys, but who's behind them 2? Who's the third? Who's the third receiver?
I like that little guy. I forgot his name. They do got Johnson.
Who are we talking about?
Tampa Bay's third.
Oh yeah, Stevie Johnson. That's a good one, right? Or wait,
oh my
God, I'm thinking of the Bills, Stevie Johnson.
Yeah,
that's how old I am. Holy shit!
Guy right there.
No, you're thinking of
He came from Minnesota.
Exactly.
With the K, maybe.
Is basically my point. You know, for 3 legit receivers going into the league, there's not another team really that can mess with our 3.
Well,
like,
listen,
receivers.
Off potential, we're definitely up there. But then that's when Dolphins will say off potential too. You know what I mean? With Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle,
over Quez Watkins
as an all-around route runner. If they were both, if they were both on the depth chart, Cedric Wilson will be ahead of them right now. Probably yes. I think I won't do it because I love Quez Watkins, but I think if you put them on the same team, I think Cedric Wilson gets more playing time.
AJ Brown, you can say yes. Tyreek.
I'm taking AJ Brown over anybody. I'll take AJ Brown over. I hate to say over Tyreek. I again, I'm
Overall
old fashioned.
receiver
I
he
need
probably
an
is.
X. I love
His
having
style
an X.
fits exactly what we need. That tough guy that can get pressed. Go ahead, man. You think, oh, Devontae Smith's too skinny. Well, guess what? Now you just met a guy same size, 50 pounds more, and he'll run your ass over. So with you, give me that X, baby. So that the perfect guy, AJ Brown. Holy shit, can't believe you have him.
And BG, you're right in a sense again, and I spoke about the same with Jimmy, that the interchangeability is something that I think we can do very well over here. But again, I think again, I'm big on Quez Watkins, but I think if outside, I think someone will put Cedric Wilson ahead of him. That's why the Dolphins went out and paid him right now. We'll see what Quez.
Hey, more proven right now.
What if you want to go ahead and say add the tight end? Did that make us number one?
Well, that puts the Raiders fly up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
they don't, because they didn't have the third receiver.
Who is the third? I mean, listen, if they had Henry Ruggs still, they would be.
Are we taking top 2 receivers and tight end now, or are we taking the 3 receivers?
We're top 3 receivers and tight end now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That Raiders are definitely up there. Holy shit,
they're up there.
Something else.
You're adding the Dallas Goedert, which is a top 10 tight end, to an already elite receiving core. Like, we literally, like, it's debatable. But it's something that's not like, if you say it, you can't say, no, that's completely garbage.
I love that we're debating this right now, BG.
It's debatable. Like, we literally have like the most legit targets in the league. Well, look, 3 in, and then if you want to add in a Miles Sanders, Gainwell, that's going too far.
Exactly.
But if you're going 3 receivers, and we got more receivers down the depth chart too, you got a first-round pick in Rager that's going to be your 4th receiver. You know what I'm saying? You got a war. You got the Olympic runner, that just broke records, like almost broke a record.
He's going down to the here's the question I wanted to ask you guys, and it was in the chat, and we're going to be getting out here short. Listen, I think that only one of these 2 players will make the team. If they make the team, if one makes it, I don't think the other one will, because I think the Eagles will try to utilize them similarly. That is Britton Covey and Devin Allen. All right. I think that when you look at special teams, a gunner, kick return, punt return, kick return, a gunner on special teams, a guy who, if you got to give your receivers a break and they have been showing that work and they got the speed, you can use them in a package or 2 and do something with them. Again, you don't want to take AJ Brown and Devontae Smith off the freaking field for no reason. But with that being said, I think them 2 are fighting for that special team, just do it all, jack of all trades type guy. Who do you think maybe they both make it? But again, I just don't see that because of having Rager still, Quez, Zach, guys who are going to be on there via their draft status and or what we paid them. Britton Covey, Devin Allen. Who are you going to give the edge to?
I think one of those guys could push Greg Ward off the roster. I really think, Greg Ward is stuck around because, okay, I'm dependable. I can play that slot. When those guys, you said it, I'm not taking AJ or Devontae off the field, but some of these guys have to. So when they move, then another guy comes in. I think when we added Devin Allen and Britton Covey, I was ecstatic because, look, we desperately need return help. And I think we all know that very much so. So, we talked about that number 2 receiver who wasn't showing up as a receiver. Well, wasn't showing up much as a returner either. So we need help there. So they have a very big chance here to make a name for themselves in that specific role, but also as a depth piece, somebody that can come in and be that Wes Welker little ass slot guy that can help you in the return game, help you with those sure hands, and maybe grow into something special. My answer is going to be just because of, look, I like Devin Allen. I love the story. Love that he's an Olympian, but he hasn't played football in effing 6 years. So Britton Covey, man, go watch his tape too. For anybody out there that hasn't seen him, man, he is really fun to watch too. So both very speedy, quick little dudes that really, I think, are just what the Eagles need. So I think one of those guys is going to find themselves on this roster. So I'm with you, and I think it's Britton Covey.
Real quick before BG goes, I try to stay up, when there's nothing to talk about, when news happens, I still try to, I try to give my opinion on things that are outside. But, when he came in first place in the 110-meter hurdle, I'm like, let me talk about that in amongst of other things, right? And so I did. And in that video, like 2 or 3 days ago, I said that I believe it's going to come down to one of them teams making a team and one of them players possibly making it as that all-around gem, or and the other one not. I don't see them taking both. Maybe one falls to the practice squad, but BG, who you favoring out of them 2? Just them 2.
I think they both make it.
All right, so how many receivers we keeping?
I think one as a returner, and the other as a receiver.
Yeah, but you can't. You still gotta. You can't label him. He'll returner, but he'll still be on the receiver depth chart at the very bottom. But
so if we going through it, we got Smitty, Brown, Quez, Rager's obviously going to be here.
Unfortunately,
and Kobe.
Pascal.
So that's what, 6,
5, and I think it's between Ward, Allen, and Kobe for me as that 6th.
Yeah. And again, I can see us keeping 6. And even if we stretch, now, if we're talking about the stretch of 7, remember, the Eagles are a team that always keep a heavy amount of offensive linemen. We just do that, right? I think we're going to, and then mind you, look at all the secondary pieces we got. I feel more confident in AJ Brown missing a game or two and Quez and Pascal filling in than if Bradbury or Slay misses a game and we got to ask others to fill in. So I think the depth at cornerback is going to be heavy on the roster. I think offensive line is going to be heavy. Linebackers, we're going to keep in abundance because you can't just get rid of Davion Taylor. He's still got a chance to prove what he can do. So I think that as much as we love receivers, and you know how we used to have to keep so many receivers on the roster? It's because we ain't have any.
Yeah.
But now I think you can cut it down to that 5, 6. And so I do think you can tag them as receiver / special teams, but I just think, well, again, and I know you love you give all Eagles love. So let me reword the question. Who do you think is better for the Eagles, Britton Covey or Devin Allen?
Allen.
You just like, I want the hurdler, right?
I want that Olympic speed right there. That hurling. Hurling's hard, man. I don't know if any of you guys ever hurdled before.
I never did, but I hear people always say that.
To be going that fast doing that, and he's a bigger receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got enough smaller guys. Like, if there's anything we need, it's like the big body guys. And like, he got big body and he's speed. You know, he's bigger than that Kobe guy. You know, I remember seeing that guy's highlights. He doesn't look very big.
He's a little bit bigger, but not much. They're both tiny little turds. But I think that you said it. You could find yourself a job just by bringing that special teams to the game. You know, hey, count me as this. I'll be that 6th wide receiver, but I'm bringing something to you that you haven't had for a long time. I'm sick of the Reno Mahe days. Give me an epic returner.
Yeah, definitely. Them Reno Mahe days were crazy. Hey, I remember, and again, I hate to bring this up, but like opening game, Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia, NFC Championship. Brian Mitchell returns the kick, touchdown, opening, and then we falter with Rondé Barber getting a bunch of picks on number 5, and we will not talk about that anymore. With that being said, Covey, Allen, it's tough. I think watching what Covey's done, and I heard Brian Westbrook talk highly about him. Even he did a couple things on him. I think he's definitely the better switch army knife on offense. But listen, it'd be beautiful to have a guy that has that, you know, again, the hurdle ability. I'm not telling you to hurdle over guys, but I think special teams goes overlooked, right? When you got the flashy quarterback and you got a great offense and a great defense, special teams goes overlooked in the sense of who cares if we get the ball to 18? Our offense is so good, we'll go down and score, right? But being able to flip the field for your defense is huge, right? Think about this. The team just scored on you. You go 3 and out. The fact that you can go 3 and out, flip the field so good and recover that way you pin them down inside their 20 somehow, and now you end up stopping them and getting the ball back at the 40. So it's like, I didn't score, but I somehow moved up 20 yards and I'm getting another chance to tie the game up. It's just so big. And then the return game, not starting inside your 20 all the time, being able to get maybe a 1 or 2 to 3 touchdowns throughout the season on special teams. It's just such a contributor, and it raises as a dunk or a 3 ball now in the NBA and the crowd goes off and you rode off that momentum. When you do things like that, that jacks up the offense and the defense. It's like if Madden ratings were a thing, they all get plus 10 on overall. It's just such a great feeling and such a team thing because the blocking is so important on a lot of plays, but mainly on a punt kick return. So I just think that, you know, having a guy who can flip the script, offense and defense. Well, you know, the punter really does that on the defense side, but the gunners too. How many times you go down and miss tackles? So just for pure kick return, I think the better receiver is Kobe. But look, we turned a rugby player into a solid left tackle.
Hey, you're right.
If this man Devin Allen can just be like, holy crap, SportsCenter breaking news. Olympic medal. Check your next Olympic medal. We just want them as special teamers, right? If the water boy can turn into the best linebacker in the where they played the bird, where was they? Georgia? Where were they located? Louisiana.
Something like that, yeah.
Right? You know, you turn your water boy into linebacker, you turn your rugby player to left tackle. Let's turn the Olympian runner into the best special team returner in the NFL.
I'm all in, man. You said it, though. You put fear into a punt team, they don't even want to kick it to you because they see a guy, shit, this guy might take it back to our 40, like you said. So, yes, that is a big part of the game, and I think one of those guys is going to find themselves on this roster.
Imagine, you got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Quez Walken, and Kobe or Allen. Like, that's a lot of speed on the field.
All of them. Pascal. I mean, throw them all in, man. I mean, this is going to be – there's actual competition. I can't wait.
What about who do you think starting for day one? You think it's going to be Edwards or Dean?
No, look, I had mentioned this earlier. I think we're going to be predominantly a 3-4. So you're going to see Dean and White in the middle. When you go into a 4-3, I think that's when you bring in TJ Edwards. I think he is still going to have a role the same as Davian Taylor is, and it's a role that suits them much better, where they're not playing 90% of the snaps. They're playing like 30%, and they're really helping out on special teams. I think White and Dean are the future. Those two linebackers are going to see the field more than anybody because they are nickel linebackers that can cover, they can tackle, they can do it all. So I'm more than ecstatic about those two.
I get that, but you got to pick one.
Dean will be
middle linebacker. And it's Dean.
What do you mean? Oh, you're asking me between Dean and who? Kaiser White? Oh, Edwards. I was just saying Dean over Edwards, definitely, because it's Dean and Kaiser White as your starters. So, yeah, I mean, that's TJ Edwards is below him and Davian Taylor is below the other one. So you've got guys that fit certain roles in TJ Edwards who can stop the tackle better than he can cover. Well, and Davian Taylor can cover better than he can stop the run. So
and what Jimmy's saying is that now, back in the day, a base package was your 4-3 or your 3-4, your base package, right? Nowadays, the base package is the nickel package. That's not no more of the specialty package. I'm telling you, go down and look at everybody. Defenses nowadays, there's not going to be a defense that plays more base than nickel. Maybe one or two, but most of the league line up naturally now in nickel. The fancy one is going back to a 4-3. Then you get the big nickel where you get three safeties on the field. You got your dime packages. You got your quarters coverages, and you do this, that, and the third. And I know we play predominantly a zone concept. I did like the switch up he did to end the season. We didn't play much. We weren't dominant in man, but we definitely 6-8% change up in man coverage and at the right times. But the nickel package is now what we see is now like a base lineup now. It's not the same anymore because of the passing league. You don't want to have, if there's going to be an extra receiver and it's 70% chance is going to be a 65% chance is going to be a pass and only 35% is going to be a run. You want a extra cornerback out there, not an extra linebacker, because most linebackers are not able to cover the same as corners. Now, as the world evolves, you're going to get them hybrid guys. You're going to have guys like Kaiser White, who one time played safety, now playing linebacker because he's bigger, that can do both. But yeah, the nickel package used to be like, I remember playing Madden back in the day. Madden 01. I ain't never come out that 4-3. And I got to learn how to play with a 3. Now, I don't care if you're running. I'm picking nickel all day. I'll switch it up.
And you're going to see a 3-3-5 nickel from the Eagles this year. You're going to see so many different things. There's like a 5-2 we're going to run. I think that but when you have a 5-2 to stop the run, so there's different packages. I think that you're going to see guys that can stand up, put their hand in the dirt. That's where that versatility comes in. So the fact that you don't have to substitute the player and you can change the scheme is huge, especially the way Mike was saying, this evolving world. There's still teams that run. There's still teams that passes. So you got to be ready for it all. Each week, you're going to see different guys as starters. You're going to see different schemes, different fronts, because it's all about accentuating to the player's skill sets and matching up with the offense. And we've got all the pieces right now.
It's like all the things that they told us at the beginning of last year, we're about to see this year, playing to the player's skill set. We're going to be coming to multiple.
Hey, you heard me last year, BG. Stay patient. It's coming.
We didn't really have the the people who really executed the right way last year, and we still came out with 9 wins playoff. I mean, this year we have those pieces, and now you're about to see really what that defense/offense is able and really capable of doing this year.
Yep. But I do pray to God that part of the reason why we played so far off and so conservative was because he wanted to get his scheme implemented and knew that he didn't have the guys to do it. Because the secondary being that far off, what that linebackers were doing in a sense of not being able to cover, but also just linebackers moving back before the ball snapped almost. Like, I always make the joke that you needed 2 TVs, that I needed to get another TV and extend the view to see my safeties. You can't do all that, especially when you have the personnel you have now. So I'm not saying you're going to come out and he's never going to be a guy who blitzes like we want. He's never going to be a guy who plays as much man as we want, but he got to be a guy who knows how to mix it up, and he got to still, show some aggressiveness. And I think that is what I'm looking forward to. I saw a change at the end of the season, but again, as he changed, so did the quarterbacks we were playing. So, we'll see.
Hey, you said it though, man. You build on that, and you just want to see what he has, dude. And he implemented his system. Now he's got the right pieces. I mean, you hit the nail on the head because you're going to find out what this defense is, but it's the right blend of man coverage, the right blend of blitzing. And with the pieces you added, you don't really have to blitz that much. And you can play that zone that you want to because of what these guys, and people see zone, oh, this guy's just sitting in his zone. It's like, no, they see a guy that comes in their zone, and then that becomes the guy they cover. So it's these guys are veterans at corner. So I feel very comfortable there. It's the safeties, obviously, that everybody's scared about. But once again, that front seven gives the quarterback so much less time that it makes me feel a little better. These linebackers are going to feast when you have Jordan Davis. He's just a zero gap guy that sits there and he's taking on 2-3 people. And dude, the linebackers, the edge rushers, everybody's going to feast. So look, it hasn't happened. It's just on paper, but we added all the pieces we needed to. So that's all we could ask for.
Now, people didn't realize how big that linebacker core was. I'd say at the end of last year, give me 3 new linebackers. Give me 3 new linebackers, and what the Eagles do, we got 3 new linebackers in there. Reddick, White, and Dean. Now you're going to see a better defense. People don't realize that year that Vikings were the number 1 defense in the NFL. It's because they had linebackers, man. You got Barr, Kendricks. Those are 2. At that time, they were like the two of the best linebackers in the league together. And that linebacker really does make a huge difference. That's the reason why we were able to give kudos to guys like TJ Edwards last year when we had those other guys playing. Because he came in, he was making tackles, he was making plays. So you're like, oh, wow, okay, our defense don't look as bad. But now when you got like studs, guys going into their prime, the first-round quality type players going in there to be your starting linebacker, then you're going to see a dramatic difference. The pass rushers, yes, they need to get better from last year. But if you really look at it, like, some of these quarterbacks were throwing the ball so fast that, you can't really put it all on the defensive line. When the quarterback hide the ball 2 seconds, throw the ball, before the defensive line get there every single time because your linebackers aren't covering nobody in the middle. People are wide open in the middle. We watched the Tampa Bay game one-on-one, Singleton versus, what's his name? The running back. I keep calling him LeGarrette Blount, but it's not. Tampa Bay running back. Fournette.
Ronald Jones or
one-on-one, Fournette, Singleton. Like, you're attacking a specific position on your team, and that's what they did. They just kept attacking it, just moving right down the field. There's nothing you can do about it when you don't have the talent there, and I feel like they definitely upgraded that position. We got the talent there now.
Yeah, man, all around, I think there's just upgrades, depth, and reason to be excited about the upcoming season for the Philadelphia Eagles. But that being said, we got some Dallas fans in the building still. Listen, we are live on 2 channels. Again, live on the Philly Talk podcast, live on Bird Gang 31's channel. Jimmy Smith, check him out. The link was in the description before, but all you gotta do is type the On the Road to Victory. That's how I got the picture of him for the thumbnail. Pretty much all I do is I go to y'all videos and I snap a shot where y'all don't look crazy because pausing it in mid talk. I do the same thing for mine. I just take the little snapshot. We make the thumbnail. It's been fun. We definitely got to do this more often. And again, I really like the collabs and the live streams when there's really you know, when this is dead time from June 15th to July 26th, you'll hear some rumors. There might be some videos, but these guys are getting ready to have a heavy camp, and it's a camp that we're all going to be debating and talking and dissecting. And that's the greatest part of doing all this.
Sure is. Dude, it's been awesome. I just want to throw that out there. BG, I've had the pleasure of meeting you last year and really getting to know you. And obviously it's a pleasure getting to see you again. But Mike, man, what a pleasure it has been to get to know you tonight. And dude, we're definitely going to be doing this more in the future. And everybody that was commenting, I can't thank you enough. I've tried to keep up with all the damn comments. And dude, it's just been awesome. I love this and I can't get enough.
Yes, sir, man. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, going up with it, both of you guys, man. We definitely need to get you up there, man. You are definitely one of the best Eagle content creators out there, Jimmy. I love working with you every time we work together.
Thanks, man.
And you already know Mike's one of the goats, so you know he already up there.
For
But
sure.
you know, he already do his thing. We all trying
we
to
just
be
talking
like
about
Mike,
the Eagles.
like Mike. If I can be like Mike.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie, though. That's a great movie, though, right?
Man, it's been a blast this first year in Eagle content. You know, meeting all you guys, collabing with you guys, work with you guys. You know, this process has been awesome. You know, it's definitely not even stressful. Like, I love it, man. It's just like talking football with people that know how to talk football. It's always the best thing you can do.
Facts.
Yep. And sometimes at the end of the day, you know, off season, during the season, sometimes we don't all see eye to eye. It's always good to sometimes agree to disagree. Sometimes you switch your own opinion and perspective about something by just listening and learning and watching the game yourselves. Also by listening to someone who might know how to break it down a little bit better and or showed you something differently where it just opened your eyes. I never thought about that. I come to the conclusion where if I make a statement, yes, I try to hold on to it as much as I can. I got take integrity, but I'm also not. It's what have you done for me lately? And things change. When you get new information, things change. And you just got to be able to take your lumps to say when you're right, say when you're wrong. But it's all fun at the end of the day. Appreciate these guys. We're definitely going to do this again. And with that being said, fly Eagles flies. And I guess we are out.
Fly Eagles fly.
Go Birds.